Hello, lovelies. I hope you're doing well. I'm doing all right. I was actually doing really well, so well that I decided to take my son for a little man trip, and we were gonna fish and shoot guns, just man stuff, southern man stuff. Anyway, I don't know how y'all do it up north, but and everything went great. I drove 6 or 7 hours to see my friends up in North Carolina. And I stayed in a little cabin. I even slept on an air mattress, which I couldn't. I was really, really worried about that with my back. And I did okay. And then it was time to come home, and we drove it all the way home. And then my throat started getting scratchy. So then my lungs started being a little congested, so I called my doctor real quick. It felt a little bit like strep throat. I'm pretty sure it was some kind of bacterial thing because it was very humid where we were at. We had a pond in the front of the cabin and a river in the back, or vice versa, whichever way you want to align the cabin. But it was a nice setup. But it was very humid. And we just had one little window unit, so we'd sweat like dogs, and then I would sleep right under that air conditioner that my grandparents raised me. I called her Mama. She always said, you don't want to get hot and sweaty and then come in the air conditioner and make you sick. I don't know if there's any truth to that, but I know for a fact that every time that I've got real hot and sweaty and just come straight into the air conditioning, I've always got sick. I don't know if it's because she planted that damn seed so many years ago, or if there's something to it. I will leave that to people smarter than me to figure out. I digress. None of that had anything to do with the video that I wanted to do for you today. As some of you may know, and some of you may not, I have a Patreon channel. There are songs, one tier that you just kind of get a little bit of everything, and then another tier you get a little more stuff, and then the third tier is a songwriting mentorship thing that I just have a handful of people that we listen to songs, and I don't write with people. I'm not let me rephrase that. I'm not saying that I'm too good to write with anybody else, but I would rather just be a coach and help you figure things out, because I can be a little heavy-handed in a writing room anyway. And I know me, if I started writing, I would just write the damn thing and tell you how good you did. So I've just found that it's better that they'll play me songs, we look at lyrics, well, have you thought about this? And sometimes all I have to do is rotate the canvas a little bit. Have you ever shined the light here? Or looked at it, let's make that blue yellow and look at it from this, and it's like, oh yeah, I see, it's right there. It's been there the whole time. Yeah, right there. So it's been a lot of fun. And I enjoy, after COVID and everything, I had gotten pretty isolated, as we all did, and probably a little crazy. I was already crazy. It just made me crazier. But the interaction with other human beings has been very, very helpful for me, and I hope that the students have found some things that they can use to help further their songwriting as well. Which brings me to this point. One of my friends that we've been working together, he sent me some lyrics, and they were quite good from where we started. To get to here, he really sent me what I thought were some pretty good verses, really well thought out. I think people think that songwriters that just, you know, smoke weed and make stuff rhyme, you know. But the craft of songwriting is as hard, if you do it correctly, it's as hard as any work I have ever done in my life. And sometimes, I dare say, harder, because your emotions get involved. You can't help it when you start loving the song, or the content is touching something inside of you. It's You have to connect to it to make it a good song. So once your emotions start getting involved, it will twist you up and tie you up in all kinds of knots. And it's also quite joyful. But I think some people just think, man, I can't tell you how many times I've heard somebody say, I wish I could be like you and just run around all the time with a guitar in their hand and just play music, you know, for a living. And I would always laugh. I used to let it go, and then after a while, I would very politely say, you wouldn't last 3 days. You would not even make it a week. It's too hard. It's too emotionally, mentally, and physically draining. So take it easy on your musician friends. They work a lot harder than you think they do. And some of them do smoke weed and just make things rhyme. But they're not the good ones. So this friend sent me these lyrics, and they were all about holding on. Hold on to this and hold on to that. And you know, we kind of went back and forth on a Zoom meeting. And it hit him suddenly that I've got all this holding on, and I kept asking, what's the important part? What is all of this summing up? If you take all of the words and put them together, what's the one thing that gives reason to all these other words? And it was like a light bulb hit him, and he said, I need to let go. And I went, that might very well be a good path to go down. Well, he went back and started working on some homework. And I remember in part of the exchange, he said, but I don't understand letting go. And I reminded him, it's very easy, so I just need to let it go. But it's another thing altogether to actually do it. I played a show in Tomball, Texas, and one of my friends that runs a club down there, after it was over, we did a kind of an off-the-cuff live on Facebook. And he said, I'm gonna mess with you a little bit. I said, that's okay. I was tired, but he caught me off guard. Anyway, he said, in live, there's, unscripted. He goes, how do you let it go? And I went, my Lord, I mean, what a time to ask me. He said, I told you I was going to mess with you. Because he had heard the song that I'd written, Let It Go. And all of this that I'm telling you now kind of brought me back around to my version of Let It Go. And I was thinking about that because there's been so much time. So many things have happened between then and now. And I pulled it out and I was looking at the lyrics, and I have a confession. I've always been weird about when I'm working on a record. I obsess over it. It's all I do. I find it hard to eat or sleep. I worry, I fret, I work, I sweat, I plead that record. And I just do that until the record is done. Once I'm certain that the record is done, I never listen to it again. In fact, it kind of makes me a little uncomfortable, like if I visit friends or family and they put on one of my songs, I don't say, oh, don't just turn that off. I mean, I don't do that. That would be dumb. But it makes me a little uncomfortable to hear my own music, and I can't really tell you why. I don't know if it's some part of me that is connected to my ego, like I don't want anybody to think that I don't know why that is, but it is a reality. So I got out the lyrics and I started thinking about that song and where I was at. I was newly getting sober. I mean, brand new, just weeks. And I was trying to reconcile who I was all my life up until that point that I was at then, when I wanted to be different. I wanted to be a better Travis. I wanted to be a sober Travis. I wanted to be different than that guy. And so that song was about me reconciling who I was with who I was trying to become. And it was late one night and I was alone by myself. And when I say late, it was after 10. When I finally quit drinking and doing drugs and stuff, I just found it was better for me to turn the lights off at 10 o'clock and just try to go to sleep, because in my mind it was kind of like gave me less opportunity to get in trouble. So I was usually lights out, 10 o'clock, just go to sleep, and get up and try and get another day. It was that intense for me. But it was after 10, it was probably 11, and I was doing this. And then I was just thinking about me as a kid, man. And those words started coming out, and I'm not going to try to sing it. I can't sing now, but I had an old 40 Cobra with a 302 Boss man sitting under the hood, pulling over cool up and down McDowell Road. My daddy smoked cool cigarettes, and I always thought, man, that would be cool to put. Instead of saying I was smoking cigarettes in my car, I was pulling on a cool. I was so proud of myself for that line. And I just saw me and some of my friends on the Mississippi back roads. And we did all the stuff that dumb teenage boys do. We'd throw bottles out and try to hit signs. And I remember Billy Barnes sitting in the back seat. And Billy Barnes, God bless him, but I wanted something a little more colorful. Plus, I didn't want to use somebody's real name. So, Billy in the back seat, rolling down the window, hitting every sign he could, yelling, "Hurry up, boys, I'm running out of things to throw." And then I got to, I was trouble on legs, like a worn-out razor, cutting everything I touched. I cut one too many, so I figured I'd blaze a trail. And I ran like the devil in a house on fire, but I didn't run fast enough. You can run all you want, but you can't outrun yourself. When I said that line, and it took some doing, this was hours in the making, but when I said that, I had an epiphany, and that was part of what I was trying to do. Since I can't outrun myself, I'm going to have to learn to love myself and be okay with myself. That made me a little emotional, and I wasn't expecting that. So you let it go. What else do? You can't hold what you can't hold. No. You can't stay young. You gotta get old. It ain't like you ain't never been told. It don't do no good to complain about the pain that you can't outgrow. You gotta let it go. Hearing those words now, this many years later, I was already struggling with getting older when I wrote that song. And now hearing those words as an even older man, it cuts differently. I do long for the body I had when I was younger. I do ache for that hunger that I had. I've learned so much, and I'm definitely a different person, and I like to believe that I'm a better person. But I do miss my youth, and I know we're living in a different age, and people are like, you're not old. Listen, I'm feeling it, okay? I'm 57. I just turned 57. I know I have a lot of life left in me. I sure hope. But I miss it. And anyway, and then time flies by like an angry girl. I ain't thought about home in years. Last thing I heard, Booty Little got drunk and died. There were a couple of guys. I had somebody in mind. I'm not going to say his name. He wound up overdosing and drowning back home, and I certainly wasn't going to name him either. So I just, and then there was another fella, kind of the same thing. I don't stay in touch with anybody from my childhood, friends or family alike. I think as a self-defense mechanism, I just closed up shop. And it made it easier because if I don't let you in, you can't hurt me. So, but the one or two people that I have maintained any kind of relationship with, one of them had recently said, hey, did you hear about so-and-so? No. And so that kind of fell into place. Booty Little got drunk and died. And they all got together. And they covered the stone in beer. I just thought that's what we would have done as kids, you know. And then the bridge says, let it go, you only go around once. It don't go slow. It's like a bullet from a gun, and you can't unlive where you come from, you know. Now, I'm going to do something that is not only going to make me uncomfortable, but it's something that I just never do. But I thought that I would listen to this with you for the first time in 12 years, 11 years, and see if it conjures up anything that I haven't told you already about letting go, and about this song in particular. And I hope you can glean something. You music lovers, I hope you find something that you can hang on to. And you aspiring writers, I hope that you can find something that maybe will help you carve your path as well. So, with that said, I hate when people do that on YouTube reaction videos. You get about into it and they stop it. But I'm immediately reminded of one thing that I think is important enough, and then I'm not going to do that again because it frustrates me when other people do it. On the song, I liked, for the verse patterns, I like this. I liked it slow. I had an old Ford Cobra with a 302 balls, man, sitting under the hood. But when it picked up to the fast part, I wanted it to kick a little bit, you know. I can't pick up my stupid pick. It's stuck. I wanted it to cook. Let it go. The engineer, Reed, God bless his soul, said, let's just do both. So we did.
I had an old Ford Cobra with a 302 boss man sitting under the hood, pulling on a cool up and down McDowell Road. Beer Lily in the backseat, rolling down the window, hitting every sign he could, yelling, hurry up boys, I'm running out of things to throw. I was trouble on legs like a worn-out razor, cutting everything I touched. I cut one too many, so I figured I'd blaze a trail. Well, I ran like the devil in a house on fire, but I didn't run fast enough. You can run all you want, but you can't outrun yourself. You let it go. What else do you do? Oh, you can't hold what you can't hold, no. Can't stay young, gotta get old. It ain't like you ain't never been told. Don't do no good to complain about the pain you can't outgrow. So let it go. Well, time flies by like an angry girl. I ain't thought about home in years. Last one I heard, Rudy Little got drunk and died. So they all got together and they said a few words and they covered the stone with beer. There's a hole in the ground, don't never get satisfied. You let it go. What else do you do? Oh, you can't hold what you can't hold, no. Can't stay young, gotta get old. It ain't like you ain't never been told. Don't do no good to complain about the pain you can't outgrow. Let it go. Yeah. You let it go. Let it go. You only go around one. It don't go slow like a bullet from a gun, and you can't unlive where you come from, you know. You let it go. What else do you do? Oh, you can't hold what you can't hold, no. You can't stay young, gotta get old. It ain't like you ain't never been told. It don't do no good to complain about the pain you can't outgrow. So you let it go. Yeah, yeah, gotta let it go. Let it go. Wow.
Wow. So many emotions and memories pile up listening to that. I forgot about that line that said, there's a hole in the ground that don't ever get satisfied. I was dealing with aging, and I didn't want to die prematurely. Friends that I used to run with, man, half of them are in jail or dead or in some kind of hospital or something because we ran hard. Nobody told us that those rock stars on stage that we were trying to emulate, a lot of that was just an act. They weren't partying near as hard as we were. We took it serious and we did it. And so I didn't want to die early. And that grave is never satisfied. It never gets satisfied. And now I look at that completely different, because it seems like every time I get up and get out of bed and, and try to get moving, I'm just inching my way towards that hole. And I just want to make sure that my life counts. That's one reason I do these videos. It's for both of us. It's for me and for you. And hopefully we can both get something out of that. Yeah, I think that's what life's about. We help each other. We encourage each other. We lift each other up. So, is this the best song I ever wrote? Probably not. No artist other than me ever recorded it. But it is important. You better believe it. It's a very important song in my life and in my career and in my recovery. It's as important as any song that I've ever written. And so I'm grateful today for my friend on my Patreon songwriting mentorship for kind of reminding me of letting it go and all the emotions that surround that process. And if there's something in your life that you need to let go, I really hope and pray that you can find strength to do that, because I've written in other songs, but it seems like every time that we let go of something that we think we want, it opens our hands up for something else that we need. And so that's my prayer for you, that you can find the will and the determination to let go what you need to let go of, so you have room in your hands for the next thing that you do need. And I don't think there's a damn thing I can say that will beat that. So I will just stop talking right here. I love you. Thank you. Come visit me on Patreon. If you're a songwriter and want to hang out on some Zoom meetings, we can figure that out. And I just appreciate you being fans and friends and loved ones. You're important to me, and I appreciate your time. Take care.